All right, so we are now recording. So today's training is going to involve a couple of different things. We're just going to do some housekeeping items with getting logged in and managing your passwords and everything like that. Then we'll walk through how to add and remove your topic subscribers, how to then send a bulletin out of the system, and then view report data once you've been sending. So that's the agenda for today. I want to say feel free to jump in with questions as you have them, but we will also have time at the end for questions, and I'll be pausing periodically to see if there are questions throughout. So, but don't be shy. Feel free to jump in and ask anything if you do have a question that comes up.
Okay.
All right, so housekeeping items, how to actually log into the system, and some of you in the room may already have access, and you may already, this may be familiar, but this is a little bit of a review. You can always access our platform, the Communications Cloud platform, from anywhere you have internet and browser access. So it is cloud-based. You can go to the Granicus homepage and click on the admin login button up here. And from there, you'll be taken to our products, which you're using GovDelivery Communications Cloud, so you can log in at admin.govdelivery.com. If you want to skip a few clicks, what I do is I just bookmark this URL here. So I add that to my bookmarks bar, and that way I can skip a couple of clicks and just go straight to the login screen. Let me get logged into your account. And this is what it looks like as you log in. So this is your dashboard. Right now there are not any announcements here at this time, but this page may look different from time to time. Announcements can be coming from a couple of different places on this page. You could be getting them from internally from your account administrators. So somebody internally may be posting something specifically for Hennepin County that they want their admins to be aware of. Other things that you may see here are announcements coming from our customer support team or our marketing teams. If there's an event or something happening, they periodically will post those notifications here, as well as if hours change because of holidays or if different holiday hours, that's usually when customer support will post in here as well. So this page may look different from time to time. It's just announcements that could be coming from a couple of different places. Other little housekeeping items here, your name will be up here with your profile and security. Your username is your email address that you've been signed in with, your password. You'll be prompted with an email to set up your own password. It's whatever you set. And you can always manage your profile and security from this page here. You can add security questions if you'd like, anything like that. You can reset your password from here as well. And you can also control your notifications that you receive out of the system. Items like if your account uses PageWatch, if it uses courtesy copies, anything like that. So you will always receive a courtesy copy if you send an email out of the system. That's your way of knowing this actually worked. So. And then other things from up here, you can sign out of your instance or visit customer support. So support link is here under your name. It's also right here next to your name. So if you have anything that you are needing help with or assistance, you can always go here. This will take you to customer support where you can contact support. You can review all of the documentation for our products here. If you have any questions, we have a vast knowledge base available to you with a lot of different articles about the product. So you can contact customer support 24 hours a day via the phone, but you can also create a ticket, create a case, or send them a chat. It is now, the email is now support@granicus.com to email in to create a ticket. Otherwise, you can always just come here and create a ticket from here as well. And they're at their desks, locally they're at their desks from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time here in St. Paul. But they do have 24-hour phone support if something were to happen after hours that you needed assistance with. So that's kind of my housekeeping spiel, just some general housekeeping items there that you should be aware of and where you can find support. From here, though, I want to go into topics. So I would like to talk about how we upload your subscriber list, add and remove subscribers from your list, and manage your list. So under topics here, you will see specifically what you have access to see. So I just have an e-newsletter topic available to me. You may have a different topic or set of topics that are available to you. So you may see something different than I do here. But if I were to click on this topic, then I am driven to the information page. If anything in here doesn't seem right, you'll want to contact your account administrator, Brian being one of them, to review and if anything in here needs to be updated or just doesn't seem accurate. But that's just the general topic information. What you're going to be more so concerned about is accessing your subscriber base. So this is if you have to upload a separate list that you have and you want to include them in sending in your send, you would go to the topic and then you would click on subscribers on the right. And from here you can see the full list. Most of these people are coming in from actually signing up from your website, so they're opting into this information. But again, if you have a list that you would like to add to this list, you can bulk edit your subscribers here. So I can add subscribers, and I'm going to add myself as a subscriber here. So you can add subscribers by entering one email per line or separated by a comma. So if you have a spreadsheet of email addresses, you could easily take the entire column, copy, paste it in here, and then click Save, and it will upload. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you the upload email that you receive. You can also upload from a CSV file if you'd like. I'm going to open this up, but I'm going to come back over here. So you can upload your spreadsheet if you wanted to, but it would be needed to be saved as a CSV, comma separated or comma delimited file in order to be compatible. So if you're just doing email addresses, it's very easy to just copy, paste, and save, and it will do the upload and it will just run in the background. Replacing subscriptions, this I would be very careful with. It's defaulted to no, and 99% of the time, that is what it should be. If you have a list like this one is where you're collecting a lot of people from direct or the network and people are opting in, you won't want to replace them because what this will do if you toggle it to yes, it will take whatever list you just had in here and wipe out the existing list and replace it with this new list that you're uploading. Typical use case for this replace subscriptions is if you have an internal list, like an Active Directory list or anything like that, that you're wanting to refresh and it's not public facing. So you're not collecting public sign up in that topic, it's a hidden topic. And that's usually where we see the replace subscriptions come into play. So again, 99% of the time you're going to be keeping that set to no and you're just going to be adding the new email addresses to this existing list instead of replacing it. And then down here, if you needed to bulk remove any subscribers out of the system for any reason, you could do that here. Same concept, you just copy and paste the email addresses into this and click Save, and it will remove them from the topic. I'm going to pull this over. This is the email that you receive once the upload is complete. It lets you know who uploaded it, uploaded by you, and how long it took. And then down here we have some additional details. So one new topic subscription was added. 0 topic subscriptions existed and were ignored. So the system does deduplicate for you. So you don't have to worry about if that person already exists in the list or am I going to get a duplicate record in here. You're not. If it's in there, they will be counted as a duplicate and they won't be added in a second time. And then how many records were suppressed and how many were invalid. So suppressed means that they have opted out of communications from Hennepin County and they will not be added back in unless they choose to go opt in again. So you're honoring their opt-out request by having them added to this suppression list. When they've chosen to say no thank you, you're not just putting them back in. So it's kind of, the system's kind of taking care of that for you. And then if any records are invalid, if it was an incomplete email address, hard mode, anything like that, it will come back in here. If any of these records, if anything existed in your list that you uploaded in either of these 2 areas, you would also receive a report, a link to a report down here, letting you know which records were invalidated and which records were suppressed. So I'm going to pause here. Are there any questions I can help answer at this time?
If somebody suppressed, okay, so if they're listed as being suppressed email and they accidentally opted out of communications, then could they just go to our Hennepin County subscribers thing online and resubscribe themselves. I think that's happened a couple times where people accidentally unsubscribe from everything.
Yep, it's exactly right. So you could, and if you're uploading and you see them as suppressed, you'll get that, you will get a notification of who was suppressed. So if you needed to reach out individually outside of the platform, you could do that and send them the link to subscribe or send them back to your web page. But yeah, they can always go back in and opt in themselves.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, perfect. So moving on then to sending a bulletin. So what we'll do here is we'll go to bulletins on the left-hand side. This is very important that you'll want to follow this workflow, but you will want to go to Create Advanced Bulletin. There is a subset of templates that have been created for you and assigned to your topics, and so they all live under the Advanced Bulletin Editor. So in order to access the pre-approved templates that Hennepin County has created for you, you will want to make sure you are clicking Create Advanced Bulletin and just ignoring Create Bulletin, because Advanced Bulletin, that's where your template lives. So I'll click Create Advanced Bulletin here. And from here, you will see the bulletin, or the templates, excuse me, you will see the templates that you have available to use. Brian, I might defer to you a little bit here on workflow, but if another template is needed, would they contact your team?
Correct, and we'll have information on our SharePoint site on how to do that.
Okay. So yeah, so if you don't see a template in here that you may need, there may be already another template created that just needs to be properly assigned, or if a whole new template is needed, follow the directions on your SharePoint site, contact your account administrators, and they can help you get what you need for a template. But otherwise, you should see a template or templates available for you to use. I am going to just borrow the general bulletin here, so I'm going to go ahead. You can preview before you use, which is nice. So you can say, is this the one I want, or is this the one I want? So you can kind of preview what the template itself looks like before you actually create it. So I'm going to use the general one. I'm just going to click Use this template. And here my bulletin has been created. So I'm going to start by updating my content. So the first thing that I have here, so Hennepin County has a series of from addresses that are available that are the email addresses that the system sends out. So the default is hennepin@public.govdelivery.com. That's great. It's very general. But if you have a separate one that you have used in here or that you need to use in here, there may be another from address available to you. So you could just choose from this list here if there's one that you have to use specifically. Otherwise, it will just be defaulted to Hennepin County, and that's perfectly fine because it's very general. You'll add your subject line here, and then pre-header text. This is the summary text that happens in your inbox. It's kind of like an extension of your subject line. So if you ever forget what it is, you can always hover over it here. But summary text that appears after the subject when your email is viewed in the inbox. So Outlook uses this and mobile uses it pretty heavily. So if you ever look at your email on your phone, you'll see a secondary line of text underneath the subject line, and that's where this is controlled. So you can control what text goes in there if you choose to. If you don't put anything in here, it will pull the first line of text, which would be this macro here, which is view this. What this does when you actually send the message is it resolves to, and I believe I can see it in the preview. Yep, it resolves to text that says, having trouble viewing this email, view it as a web page. And this link automatically becomes a landing page link when you hit send on your bulletin. So that's what would pull in if you did not put anything in pre-header. So from here, I can start working on my content. So I can update these headings as I'd like to. I can update some placeholder text if I need to. And I can also get rid of blocks. So if I don't have a lot to say, I can just copy and paste my content in as I'm going. So I can paste in content. I can also control what font I'm using. So if I paste that and I want this one to be a larger font, smaller font, H1, H2, H3 are what's available to you. So H1 is this header font. H2 is a little bit smaller but larger than paragraph text. H3, different color. And if I click it one more time, it brings me back to paragraph text. So you have 4 different fonts to play with: paragraph text, H1, H2, and H3. All of that has been preset for you in the template. But if I don't need all of these stories, I can always get rid of a content block by Xing out of it. And if I need to add additional content blocks, I can do so over here. So I can say I'd like another text block in here, and it just drops right in. I can do an image plus text block, which is nice. I could do a plain image. So from here, if I want to add an image, I just click on, this is a plain image block. I can choose an upload. There is a vast image library that's available, and it's a shared image library. You can do different folders, but there is an everywhere folder, which gives you pretty much, if someone saved it everywhere, that's where it would be. But you can upload images by clicking this. You'll want to include a name. Now, your name is used for alt text. Very important to be very descriptive in the name because it's used as for screen readers, for 508 compliance, for people who can't see. So that's used for alt text. So be very descriptive in your name of the image. This is what I mean, though, so visibility only for this bulletin. That means that if someone else were to go in, they would not see it under the account images. It would be available only to this particular bulletin. Otherwise, everywhere is the account images, and then styling images that's just usually used for like social media icons or anything like that. And then you can choose your file if you want to choose an uploaded image from here. I am actually going to take one from the account, though, just to show you what that would look like. Images, so that giant image block now kind of snapped to size. I can play with the sizing a little bit more from here. But images should be no larger than 600 pixels wide, because the template itself is a 600 pixel wide template. So anything smaller than 600 pixels wide, or 600 pixels wide and smaller, is a good rule of thumb for uploading images, so that your bulletin doesn't stretch in a different email client that may read it as a huge image. But from here, the image block kind of snaps to size. I can have it left justified, or I can center a plain image block. So either or from this button here. I can hyperlink this image if I wanted to turn it into a button. And I can add a caption to this image. So if I do this, then it looks like that when you're clicked into it, but if I click out, that's what the caption would look like. With a plain image, or image plus text block, I can add some, I'm just going to add some additional text here, sorry, so I can expand it. And I can, again, choose and upload my image either by uploading or selecting from the account images, but you'll likely be uploading new images. And then from this, I can toggle, so I can wrap my text around my image. So if I close out of it now, my text is nicely wrapped around my image here. Or I could not have it wrapped, and it would just be side by side like that. And then I can also choose which side I want the image on. So you can say I want it on right justified or left justified, and then the text would wrap around. And then I can also link this image as well if I wanted to hyperlink it. Other things in the editor are pretty standard. You can highlight and hyperlink text over here, again with the fonts here, and then I can do my standard bolding, underlining, italicizing as needed. The only thing that I would recommend, so I mentioned you can just paste in your content. The big thing I would recommend here, not just pasting in, is bulleted lists. So I would recommend stripping out the formatting of a bulleted list and pasting it in as plain text, and then formatting directly in the editor, just because sometimes with bulleted lists, code gets a little wonky, and so you could run into a little bit of frustration with conflicting code on the back end. That would be difficult. So you can add a bulleted list directly in the platform here. Oops. or a numbered list. Are there any questions? And then, yeah, you can use any of these content blocks here, so you can drag in additional line breaks, section dividers, anything like that. This footer is pre-built in this template, this particular template, but it may not always be that way. There is a footer option down here. Do not change that. This footer has been selected for this template, and especially because this one has it pre-built into this template here, we want to make sure we leave the footers assigned as they are assigned. We don't want to change that because they are assigned for a reason there. So just ignore the footer area there because it has been pre-selected and approved as the footer that needs to be as part of this template.
Do you have any tips for I've noticed sometimes even when I paste my text into Notepad and then paste it into GovDelivery that the formatting still isn't working correctly, something is wrong with the code. And then when that happens, I usually just try to redo the newsletter, like keep on trying to put it in the text in again or click around with it. But there's been times when I haven't been able to fix it no matter what I try. So I'm just wondering if you have any other tips.
Where are you using as your, is it like Notepad?
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes Notepad can still, because it is a Microsoft product, it can still kind of hold on to some of that formatting, which is weird, it shouldn't, but I've seen where it does. I use, and it's a free site, I go to editpad.org, and that is also a plain text editor. So it's just an online plain text editor, and you can paste in and then copy and paste out of here as well.
Okay.
So that's another option, and I've used this a lot, and it works well for me anyway. I've had good experience with this. So if you're still having frustrations with Notepad, give this a try. So editpad.org, it's free, and then when you leave it, it does say, are you sure, because your changes are not saved anywhere on this site. You can't save anything here, so when you leave the site, it gets rid of all your content.
Is it also possible when you're pasting in to right-click, paste as plain text? Does it give you that option?
Not in this editor. Let's see. You paste and match style, and it could be different on a different machine, but I just get the traditional paste or paste and match options.
Okay.
It's whatever your browser, I think, or your browser or your machine would allow you to do. It's not built into the editor.
Okay.
Thank you. That was helpful. I'll try that.
Absolutely. These are all really good questions.
Sorry, it might be something to mention during our training because that's been a big issue for me, and I do a lot of these bullets.
Yeah.
It looks like on my browser it allows you to paste this plain text. But
yeah, you could definitely give it a try. It's probably browser specific, and see how that works. But if you're still having some trouble, I've seen Notepad carry code before on the back end, and it's frustrating. So if you go to something that's not, especially if you're building your content in like Word, for example, and then you paste it into Notepad, it's a Microsoft to Microsoft product.
yeah.
That's where some of that is getting shared, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to move into, so your content is all created here. One thing that you can see up here now, so I have autosave enabled. You can also not have autosave, and you can periodically click the Save Now button, but you can choose whichever you would like to do. You can preview your bulletin before sending it here, but I actually recommend sending tests yourself. So making sure you always send a text message to yourself before sending the final version. And the reason for that is because that allows you to see it in different email browsers. You can type in additional email addresses in here, so you could send it to your Outlook, and then you could also send it to your Gmail or a Yahoo account if you want to see what it looks like in other clients. You can type those in here. You could also send it to a colleague to review for before you send, so someone could proofread it for you, or if something needs to be changed or anything like that. I just really recommend taking advantage of the test bulletin feature and sending yourself test messages before you actually do the full send to your audience. And that would come through. So once you have all of your content in here, if you need to save and come back later, autosave will tell you when the last save happened, but I'd still always click the Save and Next button before leaving my workstation or anything like that, just to get that one final save in so I just don't lose anything in my content. Before I go through the audience, if you're looking for your bulletin draft, have to come back to it later, you'll see it under User Draft here. And then you can just click on the subject line and it will bring you back to your draft here. So if I click on now Save and Next, the second step is the audience selection. So recipients, this is where you pick your topic that you send to. You may only have the one topic available. Otherwise, you can pick and choose. So I just have the one topic, but if I have additional topics under here, I could select multiple topics. And this is another area where the system does automatically deduplicate for you. So if you have cross-subscribers across 2 different topics or 5 different topics, and someone subscribes to multiple of those topics, they will only receive that message one time. So they won't be sent duplicates. So it does dedupe cross-subscribers. I can also apply some additional criteria if needed. So if I'm looking to filter by zip code, for example, I can target people who live in the 55316 area or who have answered that question. And apparently nobody has answered that one. It's always going to be an and. So it would be, this would be and. So 55317 is one, so I have one recipient available to me. You have a lot of different abilities with criteria. I think a lot of the times, though, if you're just sending like a newsletter or something of that nature, you're pretty much just sending to your full list of subscribers. This would just be if you needed to filter out based off of a question answer or based off of subscriber activity. So another example of this could be if you're sending out an event reminder. You sent out the first reminder of the event, and people click the RSVP link, for example, and now you want to send another reminder to those who haven't RSVP'd. You could open a copy of that bulletin and then filter based off of click activity. So I could say subscribers who did not click a link in that bulletin that was previously sent. And that will filter out everybody who did click the link, and you're only sending to people who haven't yet clicked the link. We could do a lot with criteria, so just for the sake of time, I'm going to bypass it for now, but there is an option, and you can definitely play with that. And if you ever have questions on criteria, that's a good one for support. They could help with a send like that if you're trying to set something like that up. Down here, message visibility. So earlier I mentioned that view this macro that resolves and posts the landing page link. That link only becomes active if this is marked as public. So if it is an internal send, you can change it to private, but you'll want to make sure that you go and delete that macro out of your bulletin. Otherwise, you'll be sending a broken link to your audience. So public is going to generate a landing page. Private is not. We don't have any Facebook or Twitter accounts authorized at this time, but if you need one set up, we can talk to your account administrators. This would help you publish to Facebook and publish to Twitter. So for now, the only concern is the message visibility being set to public or private. And again, if it's set to private, go and delete that view this macro from your bulletin.
One of our templates is able to post to Twitter, but I think it might just be for the news releases or something like that. or maybe just for my role, because I know that we have our Twitters now.
But for the most part, we don't want people.
Oh, no, not even close. No.
In a smaller organization, it might make sense, but okay.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Next now that I've selected my audience. And from here, I have a review and send. So this will give, I can send another test message before I actually send the real bulletin. I can preview it. I can delete it if I am giving up on it. But sending a test, you can still send a test from this page. Review, audience selection is valid. That means I have at least one recipient that I'm sending to. And actually, just for my sanity, because I'm not actually going to send this out, but I am going to do something here really quick. Sorry, I just don't want to. I'm just going to make it so I'm the only recipient here. Just for my sanity. But I have at least one recipient. This tells me that there's a placeholder content block in my bulletin that hasn't been updated yet. So I can jump back to editing and see where that lives. So from here, oh, it looks like I dragged in an additional content block and I didn't update it. So I can either X out of it, but it is only looking for one change. So if I just added a space and clicked out, now that's there. So that's another reason why sending test messages is going to be huge, because you can proofread it before you actually send it out. So it's not looking for specific content, it's just looking to make sure that the content blocks have been updated. Something else I didn't note up here, but there is a date area, so you just have to update the date manually. So you just go ahead and input the date here as well. Now I'm going to save and next, come back and save and next. And now my review and send content looks good. It'll be sent from Hennepin at public.govdelivery.com. And then down here I have some additional send options. So I can override digesting preferences, so I can mark it as urgent if I need to. Again, this is one of those, it's going to be 99% of the time you're going to leave that alone and you're going to allow for people's digesting preferences to take over. So if I, as a subscriber, said I only want a daily digest of all the emails out of Hennepin County, that is my choice, and I've chosen to do that. Daily or weekly are the two options. If it is something urgent, snow alerts, for example, any type of alert that needs to get to their inbox right away, that is when you would overwrite the digesting preferences. Otherwise, if you're sending out your newsletter, just a general information blast, anything like that, that you would not want to override digesting preferences on. Again, mainly just the alert-based ones that will impact their day, that need to get to their inbox. That's when you would overwrite. And then scheduling a send time. So I can either send now or I can schedule it to go out at a certain time. So I check the box here and then click the calendar. And I could say I need this to go out Friday at 11 a.m. And now my send button has turned into a schedule button. I'm going to go ahead and actually I will go ahead and schedule this. And now my bulletin, instead of living under user drafts, now it lives in the scheduled tab. And I can unschedule this at any time. So if I need to unschedule it, if I need to edit it or anything like that, I would just click on it as if I was going to edit it with user drafts. It does let me know it's going to be unscheduled at this time, so I'll say okay. But note that it will be unscheduled and it will not be sent unless I actually go and click the schedule button again. So if I make changes or edit, I need to make sure I go back in and click schedule. Otherwise, you could just do the send now. The last item on here is the send bulletin detail report. It's toggled to yes, and it's kind of cool. You could say no if you don't want to receive it, but 4 hours after you hit send, you'll receive an email to your inbox with the report detailing how your bulletin did. So you get to see how many opens, clicks, delivery rate, everything like that. You'll be able to see that straight in your inbox, and then it links to the full report here in the account. I'm not going to send this one actually, so it's just going to live in drafts right now. But are there any questions on sending a bulletin out of the system?
No, I don't have any.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had myself muted for a second. The topic that I have assigned to myself does not have SMS enabled, but if your topic does and you need to send an SMS message out as well, you'll see that on this second page here. There will be an SMS channel here where you could update the message itself, or it defaults to subject line and short URL, so that they get the subject line of your bulletin and then a shortened bit.ly or tiny URL to the landing page of your bulletin. So that's where you would see an SMS here, and it's only if SMS is enabled for your topic. So this particular one doesn't send out SMS, but if you have alert-based topics, you may see SMS there too. All right, so the final thing I want to review is report data. So you can access report data from a couple of places. The easiest, though, if you're looking specifically for your bulletin, is going to be under the Sent tab here. And you can filter by last month or last year. Let's see if we have anything in this topic. Here we go. So I can view the report from here as for every particular bulletin I've sent out. So if I go click View Report, I can see it here. So this is what that report looks like. I can see how well it did, how many was delivered, if any bounced. So we have a 3% bounce rate, 10% click rate, 47% open rate. That's really good. And then you can see total opens versus unique, total clicks versus unique. And what that means is unique is the first time that subscriber is opening or clicking a link in the bulletin, and then total is the tally of additional times. So if I am a subscriber, I opened it and then came back and opened it again later, that'd be the total versus the unique. So you see how many bounced, total sent, total delivered, everything like that from here, how many unsubscribed from this bulletin, and then just some additional details down here. And then each individual link that you have, you can see which ones were the most popular and how many clicks each individual link got. And then from here, you can also dive into the recipient details. So if you're curious about the bounce reasons or why that happened, you can kind of see that here. You can also access, under the reports page here, you can access a full list of your bulletin analytics or the deleted subscriber report if you're looking for an overall view on a monthly basis or anything like that. That's where you can access some of this. So like, for example, bulletin analytics, I want all the bulletins sent between, in February, for example. So February 1st to February 28th, and I can get all of the bulletins sent in that date range here. So you have a summary. Apparently February was not a good month for this, but you can get the idea there. So you can do bulletin analytics for a specific period if you're looking for that. Okay, are there any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely have plenty of time, so but that's everything I wanted to cover for you today. That's how you would use the platform. Again, the very important takeaways are creating advanced bulletin to select the template that you're using, making sure you're not changing footers or anything like that, because those are predefined and we want to make sure that we have the right footer for the right template that you have access to. And again, if you do see something in here that you're curious about or you need an additional template or anything like that, you'll just want to make sure you go to your SharePoint site and follow the directions that are listed there. I am going to stop the recording now.